and welcome to today's episode, which is our top 10 90s
all-time artists.
all-time artists.
All-time artists.
I was going to say groups, and then I knew that was wrong.
Yeah. 90s all-time artists. Our top 10. It's just our top 10. Doesn't have to be your top 10. It's just what we think was the biggest thing in the 90s. Her and I, Angelique and I, are both 90s kids. I grew up primarily adolescent-wise in the 80s, but I was a teenager all through the 90s for the most part. So it was really pivotal. That music really changed a lot of me. So we really want to really focus on just the 90s time frame and go from there.
All right, so let's do this.
Okay, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
Okay. All right, so we're going to start from the bottom to the top.
And he wants honorable mentions.
And
so
we have some honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Right
first.
before we get to number one, we'll do our honorable mentions. And we'll go from there. Okay? So for me, number 10 90s act is No Doubt.
Oh.
No Doubt, mid-90s was just... Nobody really heard of ska music before, the way they mixed in the horns with their kind of pop vibe. And Gwen is just like a solid, like, ultimate front girl, songwriter, distinct voice. That group really sent vibes throughout the whole 90s, so mid-90s all the way down through Don't Speak and Spiderwebs and all that stuff. Their first record, which was really, or their first commercial record, I should say, which was really, really popular. So that's, for me, that's my number 10 of the 90s.
So my number 10 of the 90s is going to be Spice Girls. Because Spice Girls, what?
I think I took a look at your list, and I think we're going to have a difference in what 90s music is. But go ahead.
I think we're going to have a difference.
Okay. Yeah,
why? What's wrong with the Spice Girls?
Because I consider the Spice Girls, they're very late 90s into the 2000s. And they were more prominent in the 2000s than they were in the 90s. So that's why I don't really consider them a 90s band or a 90s artist.
They came out in the 90s.
They came out in very late 90s.
They're still considered 90s. So Spice Girls.
Totally huge.
Number 10.
Totally huge. Spice Girls. Totally huge. Okay. Number 9 for me is NWA. NWA revolutionized West Coast rap. The way they came out, that first album was something like I've never heard before in my life. Things were brought up that were just so culturally diverse. It was just, you had some talented people on there like Dr. Dre, you had Ice Cube, and many of them evolved and went off and did their own labels, did their own productions and everything. So it was groundbreaking for West Coast hip hop.
Number 9 for me. I'm going to go with Aerosmith. I absolutely love Aerosmith. Why are you laughing at me?
Aerosmith is not a 90s band.
Yeah, but for me, in the 90s, I loved Aerosmith.
Aerosmith is like the 70s.
Yeah, no, they've evolved. Aerosmith is not just from the 70s.
Okay. Aerosmith started way back when.
I understand that.
I'm talking about... Okay, fine. You can have your picks. It's fine. It's fine. I disagree. But go ahead.
Crazy, amazing. Yeah, all of those songs were 90s.
I went to the Get a Grip concert. At the
okay, great. So in the 90s, Aerosmith was huge, and they reinvent themselves. Okay. Exactly. They're very prominent. So there's nothing wrong. There we go.
Oh, all right.
Go ahead.
That's incorrect. But
it's not incorrect. They were huge.
Number 8 is amalgam. I'm combining two people together.
You can't do that.
Okay, I am. If you're going to have Aerosmith on there, I can put this amalgam on there.
Rude.
And I'm going to put Death Row Records. And there were 2 albums that came out of there. And it was The Chronic and I think Snoop Dogg's Gin Juice. Right? Was that Gin Juice?
I don't know. You're the expert.
I don't know. But those 2 records, The Chronic was just like Dr. Dre's, it was just unbelievable. And I remember just like pumping that in college with like my friend Raul and listen to it was just ridiculous. It was just like something I never heard. Again, evolving from NWA, doing their own thing separately, and just developing artists like Snoop Dogg. So it was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg from Death Row that I'm branching off and I'm putting as my number 8.
All right, so my number 8.
It's gonna be somebody from the late 90s.
No.
Or the 1920s.
So my number 8, I'm gonna say Brandy.
Okay.
Are you gonna say Brandy's not in the 80s either?
No.
I mean in the 90s.
No, she was very.
The Boy
famous.
Is Mine.
She was very famous in the 90s,
like at least mid.
Sitting there in my room. She had that song, and she had that first record. She was Moesha for so many years on TV and everything. So yeah, Brandy's not a bad pick.
8, Brandy.
Okay. I got to meet Brandy. I was on tour with her. That was
pretty
awesome. I did. I was on the Boys Mind tour, by the way.
I know.
Okay.
Keep going.
This one you will agree with me because I took a peek at your list and we have it on.
Rude! He's cheating!
So,
do you see? He looked at my list. I didn't even look at his list.
You left it on the chair. So anyways,
you left yours on the chair?
Yeah, but I put mine upside down. You did not.
Oh my heavens. Go ahead.
Number 7 is Mariah Carey.
Yes.
And Mariah Carey has maybe one of the most amazing voices of all time. And it was really difficult for me not to. It was between Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston for me to put them on this list. And just the reason that I put Mariah over Whitney is just that Mariah writes all of her stuff for the most part. She had a record that came out, I think like in '97, that it was called her number ones, and it was all her number 1 records that came out that she had written. So she's not only is she a phenomenal writer, but she's an unbelievable vocalist. So that's why I picked Mariah. Mariah dominated the 90s. She was all over it.
Yes, Mariah Carey's in mine as well.
Okay.
But, you
You have her higher?
Anyway, my number 7, let's see if, this is okay with him.
Okay.
My number 7 is Boys to Men.
Okay.
Is Boys to Men okay? Is that
Boys to
in the
Men is
90s?
great, actually.
Okay.
I actually have them on my list.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yes, I do.
Look at that. We
do.
agree.
I do. Boys to Men, great inspiration. Well, it's you tell me about Boys to Men.
No, go ahead.
This is your list.
By all means.
No, I get to talk about them when
You're
I talk
more
about
the
my
guru
list.
of
Tell
all
me,
the music.
Tell me why you like Boys to Men. She loves
Why?
Boys to Men, by the way. Whenever Boys to Men is in town, we are at their thing.
Yes.
And she sings like nobody can hear her.
Well, of
and
course.
she's all over it. And it's like, what? Calm down, woman. And she just loves Boys to Men. Whenever they're in town, we're like, we got to go to the Boys to Men. I'm like, we just saw their concert 6 months ago. They're singing the same songs. They're not changing anything.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's great. It really is. I'm a fan, so. She's a huge Boys to Men fan.
So there you go. Go ahead. What's your number 6?
Okay, my number 6, I had to add this person in because they took over a type of music genre and they totally just flipped it on its back. And he was like the biggest thing the world has ever seen in country music, and that was Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks in the 90s basically reinvented country music, made it more commercial. Whether he wrote it, whether he collaborated with other artists or other songwriters, his show's so dynamic. He has such a presence, just a larger than life personality, and I think single-handedly resurrected country music during the 90s when it was all basically hip hop and grunge music. So that's me.
What number are we on? 5?
6.
We're on 6?
Yeah.
Number 6 for me is Destiny's Child.
Okay.
Is Destiny's Child not in the 90s?
Sure.
Are they not in the 90s?
Sure. I don't consider
They're
them.
in the 90s.
They started in the 90s, but I don't consider them 90s artists. That's okay.
They started in the 90s.
Their claim to fame was definitely in the 2000s.
Well, I like them in the
Okay.
90s.
Well, you do what you do. Boo.
So
Do
Destiny's
you.
Child
Do you?
is my number 6.
Yeah. Angelique's just gonna pick modern bands. Like next, she's gonna say, "I like Little Baby" for the '90s record.
Will you stop? Don't be rude.
Anyways, okay.
Because I didn't play Your Way.
All right.
These are my teenage years. These are your later teenage into
not
into
surprising that
20s.
you didn't play by the rules. By the way, not surprising. But, okay.
No one set forth rules, so I didn't break any rules.
My number 5 pick, okay, is a band that I literally hated. I hated every minute of them. I was working at the YMCA at the time as a kid counselor, basically like a camp counselor. They were just watching kids, basically, from elementary school, and while they were playing or whatever, just an after-school counselor, basically. And this song came out, and the kids loved it. And it was like, Where Were You While We Were Getting High? Champagne Supernova by Oasis. Oasis took over the 90s. When that record first came out, it really struck a chord with the youth of America here, and it just really, it ran with it. Even though when the people with Liam and his brother would speak and you couldn't understand a damn thing they were saying because their accents were so thick, the American public loved them. And they're still playing till this day. They're still rocking it out. But during the 90s, they were just, they were, even though they had criticism about maybe copying Beatles songs or copying a Beatles format, they really revolutionized what they were doing. That was the only group that sounded like that out there. So, stop looking at my list.
You already looked at my list. Why can't I look at your list? I already have my numbers.
Just go. Go. Look, the public is waiting.
Okay, my number 5, and he's absolutely going to disagree with me on the next 2 at least.
Yes.
So my number 5
it's probably going to be like
is Britney Spears.
Okay. Right,
It's
which
Britney
is,
Spears.
Again, 1997.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Right.
Yeah.
That album really did well in the late 90s.
In the 90s.
And then she was
In the 90s.
huge in the 2000s.
In the 90s.
Okay, she's a 2000 artist.
In 2000, from the 90s, she was a
2000.
sweet girl. And oh my gosh, and here we go. And I'm sorry, wasn't she also not a Mouseketeer,
She was in the Mickey Mouse
She was in the Mickey Mouse Club and all of that. And so, yes, in the 90s, she started out and she became big.
You can't count Mickey Mouse Club years in there.
No, but hold on. That's when we all used to watch the Mickey Mouse Club, when there was a Mickey Mouse Club. So, yes, actually, she started off in the 90s. Most definitely, you cannot take that away from her because that is part of her career. You're going to take that away from her?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely not.
It's not her solo career.
Absolutely
It's totally not her solo career.
It doesn't matter.
I don't count Justin Timberlake's career when he was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
Okay, keep going. Good.
Okay.
Go to your number 4.
All right. Number 4 is Boyz II Men. And we've already talked about Boyz II Men, how much you love them. I wanted to be in Boyz II Men. I wanted to be Boyz II Men. Me and my boys wanted to be Boyz II Men. When I was in C-Note, we wanted to be Boyz II Men. It was just, they were it for us. And their first album was great, Motown Feeling and all that stuff. But their second album, Water Runs Dry, On Bended Knee, I'll Make Love to You. I mean, it's just song after song after song that was just like,
I mean, and then of course their song with my man LL Cool J, Hey Lover.
Hey Lover, yeah. She loves that song. Yeah, she does. All right, so that's me for Boyz II Men.
Okay, number 4, you're still gonna disagree with me. Christina Aguilera. Again, she started in the Mickey Mouse Club.
I mean,
she had Genie in a Bottle. She had that whole first album.
Again,
that was her innocent.
This is the worst 90s list I've ever heard.
It is not the worst 90s.
It's the worst 90s list I've ever heard.
It's not the worst 90s list. It's just
by
not your
far the
90s list.
Okay.
It's just not your 90s list.
Okay, all right, go ahead, keep going. Continue.
Anyway, so yes, Christina Aguilera, because I don't know, she was kind of sexy, but
Wait, so you're putting Christina over Britney?
Christina can sing better than Britney.
Okay, so that's why
Are you
going to
disagree with me on that?
No, but that's why you're doing that? Because I would think that Britney is larger than Christina. Britney is a bigger icon than Christina.
I think Britney has maintained how big she was for a longer duration of time.
Britney has had more hits than Christina.
I think that Christina was doing very well and then fell off.
Okay.
I think if Christina lasted as long as Britney did in the limelight, as high as she was, I think she would have surpassed Britney.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I love me some Britney Spears and some Christina. I love both.
Okay.
But I did put Christina higher because of the singing ability.
Okay.
And Christina was in the movie, and I loved all that. So that was a little later.
What movie?
Burlesque. Hello? That was later in the 2000s. I get it, I know, but still. And we move on.
So you just proved my point.
No.
Okay,
I just
so
said that she did something else.
Number three, okay? Number three is, and again, I'm doing an amalgam. I'm fusing things together.
There we go.
I'm fusing Bad Boy. Bad Boy, so P. Diddy and everything that he did with Mace and 112 and everything, but Biggie being his biggest star, and Biggie by far is my favorite rapper of all time. Like his beats, the way he flowed, just everything that just came out of his mouth. I believe that man, and so Biggie is to me is a legend in hip hop, and you know. That's my number. What is it? Number 3 pick. But again, I don't want to leave out Puffy and Mace, and because during that time in the late '90s, especially in the late '90s, Mace and Biggie and Puffy were all in each other's videos all the time, over and over and over again. So I like the little combination of the three, but for the most part, Biggie reigns supreme. Number 3.
Okay. So we're on number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 for me is Mariah Carey.
Okay.
Because Mariah Carey could sing her butt off. She had so many different hits. I mean, hits that are still played today that, I mean, will always just be
hits.
Yeah. They're just hits.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, I mean, Mariah Carey, I think, wasn't that the tape that I found at my mom's house? We had a cassette tape.
It was.
And it was a single. And so you had a song on either side. But the big hit was on the A side, and then the smaller hit was on the B side.
It was a single cassette.
Yeah, it was a single song cassette. Yep. So, I mean, I definitely was a huge fan of hers, and I thought she was absolutely gorgeous, and just, most definitely, she's my number 3.
Okay, that's good.
We agreed.
That's a good pick.
It was on his list.
Okay.
That's why.
Number 2, I'm gonna go with this because I did say that Biggie was the best rapper of all time. He's my favorite rapper of all time. But I think maybe the best rapper of all time is Tupac. Number 2 is Tupac for me. His voice, the way he flowed, again, the things he said, like Dear Mama is like, I mean, it's on the softer side for him, but man, it really cuts to the bone. I Ain't Mad at Ya. I mean, I Get Around, even that song is funny as hell. And, you know, he was with Digital Underground and hung around with them in the beginning. But just, you know, his story, the way, you know, he went through all the adversity and everything that he went through, and just the way that he could just put pen to paper and write those lyrics and come out and have such a distinguished voice and delivery. That's why Tupac, to me, is just ridiculous. Number 2.
Number 2 for me is Nirvana.
Okay.
And Nirvana is just like Brody said about Oasis. Nirvana was different. It wasn't the same. The way Kurt Cobain was, and I don't know. You didn't have to. I don't know. It wasn't a genre of music that I tended to go towards, but I liked Nirvana and I would listen to it. And so that to me is why it stuck out to me and why I made it my number 2, because it just stuck out to me so much. And I just realized I didn't put one person. There's one person I can't believe I did not put on my list.
Put him in honorable mentions.
But it's not an honorable mention, but it's okay. Anyway, number 2, Nirvana for me. I can't believe I just said that. Keep going. I can't. Wow.
Well, you need to say that person.
I will.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So now it's the honorable mentions part. So if you want to say your person, it's the perfect time.
Yeah, I got to kick somebody out.
Okay.
I got to kick somebody out of my top 10.
All right. Who are you doing?
I got to put my girl Mary J in there. I can't believe I forgot Mary J. I cannot believe I did that. I sat there and I was like, okay, let me be really, inclusive and all of this stuff. And I cannot believe the woman that has got me through so many things in my life from the beginning until now. I cannot believe I did not put her in my list. And I'm so ashamed for that. I'm absolutely ashamed that I did not put her. Actually, and there's somebody else too. And you didn't put your favorite,
Yes.
which I can't believe I didn't put that person in there either.
I have to take somebody out also.
So I'm gonna take Spice Girls out and move people down because
Okay.
yeah, this list is now null and void.
All right,
It's just null and void.
I am removing No Doubt also and putting them in honorable mention. And I'm gonna replace No Doubt with Brian McKnight.
Oh, I'm surprised you said
And
that one.
who did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say Prince.
Prince is not a 90s guy.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
My God, Prince is 80s.
Oh yeah, I guess you was.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All
never
right.
mind.
So I mean, he did go over everything.
Yes, he did.
So
But keep going.
yes.
Go ahead.
Brian McKnight, One Last Cry, like all his records. I remember one night it was me and Raul. We were in my little shitty Nissan Sentra, and we were broke as hell. We had $5, and we went and we put that $5 in gas in my car, and we had tape of the Brian McKnight. We put it in, and we put $5 of gas in my car, which
went
went a long way.
A long way. I mean,
Back
gas
then.
was less than $1. So
it went a long way.
good.
And he gave me a piece. He got 2 pieces of gum, and he gave me 1 piece, and then I took the other. He's like, "This is all we have." And we're like, "You, me, this car, this juicy fruit,
Juicy fruit.
and Brian McKnight." we put the tape in. It was just ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, I had to put Brian McKnight in. Prince absolutely is like Aerosmith with Angelique. Prince is like surpasses generations. So I'll give that to her on the Aerosmith or whatever. But
give it to me
yeah,
now.
I will.
Wait, I'm not done with my honorable
Okay,
mention.
so who's your person? Yeah.
My other ones are Shania Twain,
Okay.
and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I have a couple that you're gonna be like, oh,
Crap.
okay.
Okay.
Ready? My first honorable mention. Jodeci. I mean, that is like middle school, high school, growing up in the 90s.
That's crazy.
That's really, Jodeci was either you're in 7th or 8th grade or you're in 9th or 10th grade and you're just, baby, won't you just stay? I mean, come on now. Sing that song. But I agree with you. I have more honorable mentions than you do.
Go ahead.
I have Red Hot Chili Peppers. I thought Give It Away Now was like the most outrageous video I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, that is, my mind is blown. Second, Pearl Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Pearl Jam with Even Flow and Jeremy. It's just unbelievable. Shania Twain. So we agree on that. Nas. Which is
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't have him either. Which is ridiculous on there. And then my last
Nas, I introduced my brother to Nas.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember being, he was like he had to have been closer to mid 90s, Nas. I mean, maybe he came out before, but I just remember myself. I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. And I remember introducing my brother to Nas and being like, yo, you gotta check this out. You gotta check this out as I drove my mom's car. And a Honda Civic hatchback. It was like this blue color.
So it wasn't very big.
It wasn't very big. And I had a boyfriend that put 2 10s in the back of it. So my mother was not very happy.
Yeah, granted, this is her mom's car.
We messed with the
wires.
He messed with the wires. And so, I mean, you turned the radio on and you push the button and all of a sudden the whole car was like, as you drove, the rear view mirror and your side mirrors are all like.
Yeah, good old Susan did not like that.
No, she did not. My mother did not appreciate that at all. And then there was no trunk space really because we put the 2 10s in the back.
Awesome. Good job.
Yeah, anyway, keep going.
My last, I put No Doubt in my honorable mentions again. And then my last honorable mention was Whitney Houston. Bodyguard soundtrack.
Yeah, I think she really should go in the top 10 though. You know, like I could take out somebody for the top 10 for her. Yeah. I mean, that just...
I'm just surprised that whatchamacallit, your girl, Mary J, is not your number 1.
I know.
Okay.
Because she really did. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay. All right. Well, it's okay. Let me go to my number 1, then you can do your final preparations on what it is you have to do.
Yeah.
My number one, she said it already, is Nirvana.
Oh.
Nirvana blew my mind like no band had ever done, because nothing sounded like them ever. Okay, now I'm sure you all in the Pacific Northwest will say, oh, they have bands like this all the time over here. Not down here in Florida. Okay, we didn't hear music like that down here. And when they played, and they were on MTV Unplugged, and their music videos, it was fantastic. Bleach was the first album that I bought that I liked, but Nevermind was the one that it like influenced my high school years. I remember watching the video to Smells Like Teen Spirit and not knowing what to do with myself. And it was the first time that music had kind of affected me physically.
You felt it.
It's not so much that I wanted to dance, it's kind of like I wanted to hit something, or it's kind of like I wanted to rage out, or it was intoxicating, and it was liberating. I mean, they have In Bloom, Come As You Are, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Lithium, Something in the Way on that Nevermind album. That's just, particularly that album for me, that record, nobody says album anymore, that record for me was the epitome. I remember mowing the lawn with the little tape player and everything, and putting it in the car and wanting to play it all the time, and just getting charged up for a game, or when I played baseball in high school, and putting Nirvana on. And that is definitely my number one music changing experience. And I wasn't into that kind of music. I was more of a Brian McKnight, Boyz II Men kind of guy. I heard Nirvana and I was drawn to it like moth to a flame. It was something, it was weird, but I totally appreciate it.
So my number one was his number two, and that's Tupac. Yeah. And Tupac definitely was it for me. He looked good. He sounded good. What he spoke, he was ahead of his time. Mm-hmm. He spoke about things that we still have issues with today. Facts. He spoke, even though he was a gangster and he was, this bad guy and the whole 9 yards, he spoke about women, and in the way that he did it. Yes, there were times that he spoke ill of women. I do understand that. But there were times, since a man can't make one, who has a right to tell a woman when and where to create one? I'm talking about having a baby and how men shouldn't have the right to tell a woman what to do with her body. Yeah. And I mean, look at what we're still going through today. There's so many other songs and so many other lyrics, and they were just, that song, especially in particular, Keep Your Head Up, many a times has gotten me through just many different things, and reminding myself to keep my head up, and that there, through the trials and tribulations of life, that you can get through that. Keep your head up and you'll get past that, and you can make it on. And so to me, Tupac is definitely number one on my list. So yeah. Yeah,
that's a solid number one. I mean, you can't go wrong with that at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's just really historical how both of them, both Biggie and Tupac, happened to die close together and a couple of years apart or whatever, and it's tragic that they happened to pass that way, but they were both really icons in the rap game, and not just they weren't just passing, they were still in their prime. They were about to take it up to another level, and when you see that happening and you see them fade, it's like, man, the whole what if is really a question.
Yeah,
it's really a question. So but we're glad that they made the music they did, and we're glad that they're part of our lives. I mean, music is something that you continue to take with you wherever you go, no matter how old you are, and how old you were when you heard it. So
yeah, and I mean that to me, that's the time when you could understand what the rappers were saying, and
absolutely,
you could relate to me a little. To me, you could relate more to them, and maybe that's the old people in us talking, when they're, oh, you remember back when, that type of deal. But
I don't know what that was.
It was an old person talking. I used to walk to school. But,
Nice.
you know, when you could understand what they were saying, when they had a message, and from the beginning of the song to the end of the song was a message, right or wrong, it was a message, and you could follow it through, and it wasn't, you know, something that they just repeated the same word over and over and over and over and over again, and that was the, you know, the whole song, and that's what you got from it. And yes, they talked about drugs and stuff, but it was a different manner in which they spoke about things. They were very creative in how they came up with speaking about things, and so there was just some.
I mean,
Well, they talked about.
I mean,
Don't get
guys.
me
I
wrong.
mean,
They
yeah,
talked about it,
they
but-
weren't angels. Okay?
No. Oh gosh,
You
no.
know, some of their
no.
songs are very themed and message sent, and some of their songs are just very explicit about their interactions with women,
Yes.
their interactions with drugs, their interactions with violence, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take the good with the bad, but when you listen to both sides of it and everything, it's you really appreciate the real genius behind it, and what they. Again, I say it again, how they were able to put pen to paper and just really come up with something so creative. You know, so.
Okay, so if I had a couple other honorable mentions,
Yeah, go for
would
it.
you disagree with these?
If
Because
they're
now that
Backstreet Boys
I'm
and NSYNC,
thinking
I'm
of-
going to say
No,
They
I already
can't
knew
be.
that you were going to say no
Yeah.
to those, so I didn't even put those on. So, would you agree or disagree
okay.
with my man Method Man and Wu-Tang?
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with
because
Wu-Tang.
I mean, I remember
Absolutely.
being in high school.
Yes.
Shorty, a man for you anytime you need me for real, girls. Me
Okay,
the
well,
world,
that's-
believe me. Now
I'll
make
go
a
on.
man
You
feel better
just
than
saying
all that.
Wu-Tang, okay.
I said both.
But
I said
okay.
Method Man and
Okay.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no. I would say absolutely.
M.E.T.H.O.D., man. That
Yeah.
was on the Wu-Tang album
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
but that was about Method Man.
Yeah,
because
well,
he
they
was
were-
my man.
Absolutely. I'm surprised that you didn't have him on your list.
I know. I really was trying to go more
I'm-
diverse and
yeah.
not just go with that. So that's why
Okay.
I didn't have them on my list. And then you started like knocking people off my list. So now I'm like, hey, listen. So really, they shouldn't be honorable mentions. They should go into the top 10.
Well, who are you taking out then?
Well, Method Man can definitely replace. I'll replace Britney Spears and Christina, since you said they're 2000s, and they were more I understand what you're saying, where they got bigger in 2000s,
Right.
But they still had a presence though in the 90s.
I get it.
Because I remember them, and I remember like where I was and like certain things that like dances and stuff like that. So that's why I picked them, because I do remember that. Yes, in the 2000s, I do think they absolutely blew up and stuff like that. So I'll take Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera out, and I will definitely put Method Man and Wu-Tang.
And you know what? I jumped the gun a little bit on that because I'm 5 years older than her.
Yes.
So, like, for me, high school started in 89, I think, or 90 or 89, something like that. And, yeah, something like that. And so I was basically going from there through basically, like, college, which was, I don't know, college was like 95.
Well, just say your ages.
96.
I mean, how old were you?
So, I mean,
at that
I
time?
would go from, like, I don't know, high school was, 14, all the way through, like, 19 or 20.
That's only like 5 years. That's only 5 or 6 years.
Well, shit, I don't know then.
Exactly. So I'm talking about from when I was 10
Okay, hold
until
on.
I was
So
20.
I'm talking about.
That's the 90s.
So I'm talking
This
about.
is why he didn't accept my answer, because
No. Hold on.
my
Hold on.
people were in the 90s. I remember being in high school. I remember listening to this stuff. I absolutely
You know, I'm not
remember
good with
this.
math. So I was basically going from 89 to 2000. That's where I was going. Okay.
Great. Well, you can't go from 89 because that's not 90.
My first year in high school.
It doesn't
was
matter.
89, 90.
It doesn't matter. Do you see?
Okay.
He didn't play by the rules. I played by the rules. He didn't play by the rules. And I still redid my thing to fit all
Because
into
her
what
list
he
is
wanted.
wrong.
My
Her
list is not wrong.
Yes, it was.
My list is not wrong.
Okay. Now it's not. Now after the corrections. Okay.
Whatever. So that's our list.
So that's her show.
Our list of not really being a list and kind of going off
Going off base.
off on a tangent.
Yeah, so that's our show tonight, guys. So I hope you appreciate it. I hope you liked it. And from Angelique and myself, Brody, you guys have a great night. And thanks for watching from A to B.
Bye.